Welcome back to Poorly Educated Today in the News, the show where we break down world events using the same brainpower my cousin Ricky uses to fix a carburetor with duct tape and prayers. And folks, today's news is hotter than a skillet left on the tailgate during July. The whole planet's acting up. America's government is fighting itself like two raccoons in a trash can. The economy's having a mood swing, and scientists done created photons that aren't even real photons, which honestly sounds like the kind of thing I'd accidentally invent by plugging a toaster into a generator while drunk. But we got stories to cover, so grab your sweet tea and let's get this thing moving. Segment 1. Trump declares a total naval blockade on Venezuela. Now listen, y'all know geopolitical news usually confuses me. I once learned the word hemisphere and thought it was a type of omelet. But even I can tell you that when the president wakes up and decides to announce a total and complete blockade of Venezuela, we're officially in the hold my beer, I got an idea phase of foreign policy. Trump hops on Truth Social, types out something like, largest armada ever assembled in the history of South America, capital letters everywhere, like he's announcing a pay-per-view wrestling event. Except this ain't Hulk Hogan slamming a chair. It's U.S. Navy ships telling oil tankers, turn around or y'all gonna have a very bad day. And then he says, Venezuela needs to give back all the oil, land, and other assets stolen from the United States. Buddy, most folks can't even get their cousin to return a lawnmower. Good luck repossessing a whole country. Meanwhile, Venezuela is yelling, this is illegal, international law. And I'm sitting here thinking, well, yeah. But half the time my cousin Jerome tells me something's illegal. It just means he tried it once and got caught. International law feels kind of the same. Point is, the Caribbean now has more U.S. ships than my uncle's backyard has abandoned Chevrolets. And that's saying something. Segment 2. Congress versus Trump, the war powers throwdown. While the president's out there playing Battleship Real Life Edition, Congress is having a meltdown. You ever watch a football team where half the players want to run the ball and the other half want to quit and go get nachos? That's Congress right now. War powers this constitutional authority that, folks, the McGovern-Massey resolution is basically Congress yelling, we said you can't go to war without asking. And Trump yelling back, it's not a war, it's a blockade, totally different. Like a kid saying he didn't punch his brother, he lightly applied a fist-shaped force. Even Republicans are mad. Libertarians are mad. Democrats are mad. The only people not mad are folks who don't have cable. They're arguing over everything. The FTO designation, the 60-day deadline, the definition of hostilities. And when you start arguing over the definition of a word, you know you're in trouble. Last time my family argued over a definition, it was whether supper means 5 p.m. or 7 p.m. We ain't eaten together since. Congress is trying to haul the brakes, the administration's slamming the gas, and America's seatbelt light is blinking like crazy. Segment 3. Republicans revolt over ACA subsidies. Y'all, the Republican Party is fighting itself harder than my uncles fight over who gets to sit closest to the fan at a barbecue. Here's the deal. ACA subsidies expire December 31st. If they go poof, millions of folks' premiums double faster than Waffle House fights escalate. Moderates see this and go, nope, we ain't losing elections over this mess. So they did the forbidden thing, a discharge petition. If you don't know what that is, imagine the Speaker of the House is your mama, and she tells you you can't have cookies before dinner. A discharge petition is you and your cousins sneaking behind her back, getting a stool, and taking the cookies anyway. 4 Republicans, Fitzpatrick, Lawler, Bresnahan, McKenzie, broke ranks and made it happen. Swing district survival ain't pretty, folks. If your premiums double, people get mad. And angry constituents write emails with all caps, and nobody survives that. Speaker Mike Johnson is madder than a rooster in a rainstorm. But you can't blame moderates. If the choice is anger conservative leadership or lose your job, they're gonna choose keeping their job. Same as me avoiding chores by hiding in the shed. Now the house is basically party karaoke night, except everybody's singing different songs at the same time. Segment 4, Jack Smith testifies. Proof beyond a reasonable doubt. Jack Smith rolled into Congress like a man who ain't afraid of nothing, not even the coupons they send from Spirit Halloween. He tells lawmakers, they had proof beyond a reasonable doubt that Trump tried to overturn the 2020 election. They had powerful evidence on classified documents. He made his decisions without regard to political association. And Republicans respond by asking about phone records. Not the contents, just the logs, which honestly is the least dramatic part of the whole saga. This is like watching a murder mystery, and everyone's obsessed with who borrowed a pencil. Smith defends everything like a lawyer who ain't got time for nonsense. Then his attorney says he's living through an unprecedented retribution campaign. Meanwhile, the president is out here saying he wishes the hearing was public. Buddy, this ain't WWE. You don't get to pick the lighting. It's a whole circus, and somehow the tightrope walker, the lion tamer, and the guy selling popcorn all have subpoenas. Segment 5. The American economy. Oil up, tech down, everyone miserable. Oil prices shot up the moment the blockade was announced. WTI and Brent jumped like a cat hearing a lawnmower start. Energy stocks surged. Tech stocks fell. Nvidia, Oracle, all taking hits like they mouthed off to the wrong bouncer. And Americans? They hate the economy more than my cousin hates child support payments. Marist poll says Trump's economic approval is 36%, lowest in 6 years. 70% say cost of living is unaffordable, which, yeah. Eggs cost more than therapy. Therapy costs more than rent. Rent costs more than my truck insurance, and my truck insurance is already a crime. People are calling it a vibe session, which is the fanciest way I ever heard someone say, things ain't great, but we can't explain it. Even folks who are doing fine are upset, because everybody else is upset. Misery spreads faster than my uncle at a buffet. Segment 6. Global chaos. Gaza freezing, Russia fuming, Canada versus Israel. International news is rougher than a gravel driveway. In Gaza, a 2-week-old baby froze to death. No jokes here, just heartbreak. Aid blocked, storms hitting, and the world's arguing while civilians suffer. Even my redneck self knows compassion shouldn't be partisan. Then you got Russia yelling about war hysteria, some folks whispering about potential peace talks. Europe thinking about seizing Russian assets. It's basically geopolitical Thanksgiving dinner. Everyone's mad, nobody's leaving. Canada sent a delegation to Israel, and Israel told them to scram, calling them a public safety threat. Buddy, if Canada is a danger to you, you need therapy or a nap. Meanwhile, the U.S. won't condemn settler violence, which puts us at odds with Europe again. At this point, America's foreign policy is that friend who says, I'm not difficult. Everyone else is just wrong. Segment 7. Science and Space. Fake photons, Titan slush, interstellar visitor. Let's talk about science. The one subject I failed so hard my teacher wrote, "Good luck, son," next to my grade. Scientists discovered emergent photons in a quantum spin liquid. Basically, the material behaves like it creates photons that don't technically exist, but still act like photons, which sounds like what happens when my cousin claims he's manifesting a new base boat. Then NASA says Titan might not have a global ocean, just slush and pockets of water. So Titan is basically a giant intergalactic gas station slush machine. Also, we got a new interstellar comet swinging by Earth. Not dangerously close, but close enough for scientists to stare at it and go, neat. Meanwhile, every conspiracy uncle in America is already saying, that's no comet. And NASA's new Landsat team is ready to map the planet from space, which is great because somebody needs to keep track of all the forests we're arguing about. Segment 8. Stormageddon plus Times Person of the Year. The Architects of AI. The Pacific Northwest is getting walloped by a storm so big it makes the 1998 snowpocalypse look like dandruff. Mount Rainier's getting 123 inches of snow. That's not a storm. That's a frosty chokehold. Over 500,000 folks without power. Winds hitting 80 miles per hour. If this happened where I live, every Dollar General in the county would be empty within 20 minutes. Meanwhile, Time named the Architects of AI their Person of the Year. Jensen Huang and the AI overlords are officially running the future. Look, if AI wants to take over, this is the week to do it. America's distracted, the weather's insane, Congress is fighting, and half the country's mad at eggs. Also shout out to Leo DiCaprio for Entertainer of the Year, proven that even when the world is burning, he's out there keeping the vibes strong. In conclusion, America is juggling more chaos than a possum trying to escape a trampoline. We got blockades, rebellions in Congress, the economy yelling, science making ghost photons, space throwing comets at us, and Mother Nature swinging like she's mad we forgot her birthday. But don't you worry. We'll keep breaking it down, one badly explained redneck metaphor at a time. This has been Poorly Educated Today in the news, where we don't always get it right, but we always get it loud. Tune in next time, and until then, stay poorly educated, y'all.